Good to see you again on our channel. Often hailed as Germany's most successful pop duo, Modern Talking is comprised of Dieter Bohlen and Thomas Anders, two of the country's most renowned artists. Despite the fact that they have broken numerous records and produced numerous top 5 hits, there is mounting evidence that their meteoric rise to stardom was all an act. Many have even speculated that the duo's meteoric rise to fame is due more to their mastery of salesmanship than to any genuine musical ability on their part. Because of this and other factors, Modern Talking is today considered one of the greatest musical hoaxes ever. What exactly did this band do to earn such contempt? Were they able to purchase their way to stardom and fortune? Is that so? How exactly? In that case, how did they become so famous if their music was so bad? Indeed, trash. This is the label whose artist's music is progressively fading into obscurity. Let's take a look back to the band's glory days to set the stage for our upcoming investigation into the band's demise. After all, knowing how and why they fell from grace will add depth to the tale. Just think about how far they were flying before they crashed to the ground. First things first, when did modern speech emerge? Collaborative music production was a concept that Dieter and Thomas had. The duo became official and gave their band a moniker after receiving positive feedback on their early efforts. From 1983 to 1987, they were a duo. However, 1987 was a watershed moment in their band history since they decided to split ways. Following this, contemporary speech ended, however temporarily. From 1998 to 2003, they recorded and released music after a successful comeback. During this time, numerous of their singles reached the top 10 in Germany and elsewhere. Unfortunately, they had a contentious final breakup in 2003 after things had turned sour once again. Their album and single sales had already surpassed 120 million by this point. If they were so effective as a team and generated so much money from their collaboration, then why did they break up not once, but twice? Well, that's an interesting tale in and of itself, but we'll get to that later. Since I'm sure you have a lot of questions, let's discuss the band's rise to success before we get into why they were an unpopular pick for many people. For example, was it a fluke, a result of random chance, or the result of persistent effort that the two of them were unable to sustain? Everything that has happened to the band since their 1985 single, You're My Heart, You're My Soul, went viral is, in fact, the result of that single song. It quickly rose to the top 10 in 35 countries because to the overwhelming support it received, and it even topped the charts in its own country for 6 weeks. A staggering 8 million copies of this track were sold. They released another top-charting single from their debut album, You Can Win It If You Want It, undoubtedly influenced by this success. In Germany, this album reached platinum status after selling more than 500,000 copies. Incredible, isn't it? The single Cherry Cherry Lady was released by Modern Talking not long after their second hit, and it also became a #1 in several countries. These places included West Germany, Greece, Finland, Switzerland, Sweden, Austria, and Norway. It also reached the top 10 in Denmark, Sweden, Belgium, and the Netherlands. Now the twist comes into play. Things truly began to decline at this time. Why? Because the 6th record was not as well received as the previous 5. In a German interview that took place while Thomas was traveling in Los Angeles, Dieter announced the project's termination following the not-so-great reception to their 6th album. Their relationship was already strained, but this announcement did nothing but make things worse. This, along with a few other high-profile feuds, undermined the foundation of the band, the dynamic between the two members of Modern Talking. After Thomas and his then-wife Nora's divorce, Dieter publicly blamed her in an interview for the breakup of Modern Talking. He claims that she forbade her husband from speaking with female reporters and that she insisted on making major changes to the recordings and footage of their show on multiple occasions, likely caused the two to argue and fight frequently. Thomas later confirmed Dieter's statements in his biography as well. No matter how you slice it, tensions were rising between the two artists and their music was drawing growing criticism. Their former fans began to notice that, musically speaking, they're all pretty much the same. Having the same structure, beat, and dubious melody in all of their songs is incredibly similar, and it's hardly hard to hear the similarities. Try stringing together snippets of their most popular songs. I guarantee you won't hear a thing different. If you still don't believe me, then try it out for yourself. The two members persisted in working independently despite the animosity. Note that this is where the duo's work began to be questioned. Despite this, many fans continued to anticipate their releases. So it's not like they persisted in making music and working together in the same way before, when no one was into what they had to offer. Many of their dubious dealings were exposed to the public, but the devoted supporters persisted and even went so far as to defend them. Fox the Fox's 1984 smash single Precious Little Diamond prompted Dieter to start using falsetto choruses in his own compositions. A number of members of the studio vocal lineup, including Rolf Kohler, Michael Schultz, Detlef, and Weedgeek, were responsible for creating the high choruses that are characteristic of modern talking. However, a massive legal issue ensued since these individuals were not acknowledged. Dieter was forced to openly recognize their involvement in his upcoming album, Obsession by Blue System, after they finally won an out-of-court settlement. We might so conclude that the controversies persisted even after the unexpected but anticipated demise of modern discourse. In light of the fact that individuals formerly linked to the group persisted in engaging in behaviors that garnered widespread media coverage, and I say this without implying any malice, there must have been more difficulties with Dieter than only the legal conflict. In 2006, for example, Dieter secretly incorporated a message in his song Bizarre Bizarre. We shall never cease to converse in this current era goes the reverse of this song. When asked about the meaning of the message, he simply stated that he wished to convey the eternal nature of Modern Talking's music. When word got out that Modern Talking had broken up for good, he continued bringing up the band in this manner, much to the disapproval of many. Maybe we should give him a chance here, though. Maybe his strong emotional connection to the band Modern Talking is the explanation behind the recurring references to them in his solo work. He did, in fact, devote a great deal of his good times to serving the band. This is something I want to bring up because Dieter has penned 2 memoirs detailing the history of modern speech from his own point of view. So, he made it a point to do more than simply sing about the band in his songs. He wanted to ensure that they would be remembered for years to come. Oddly enough, this autobiography was likewise well received by the general public, with sales of about 1 million copies in Germany alone. However, his sequel, which came out shortly thereafter, was severely panned due to his perceived lack of impartiality towards his co-workers. Dieter withdrew from public life for a year, till 2006, due to the extreme hate he got. He expressed remorse for publishing the second book later on. After the book came out, Dieter had a rough go of it due to the several people who had filed accusations against him and wanted certain parts of it modified, including his ex-bandmate Thomas. Along with Dieter, Frank Farian was very offended by Dieter's work. In retaliation, Farian published a book in which he attempted to discredit Dieter for being a con artist. Would you like to share your thoughts on this? Does current speech merit all the criticism it's receiving, or is this an attempt at defamation meant to devalue their efforts? Leave a comment telling us what you think about this.